month ago, the CAS report was released, and it said that children and young people presenting to the NHS with gender distress were being let down by the NHS because the evidence base was remarkably weak that was being used to treat them. The result of this was the UK government banned puberty blockers for children that's under 18 in the NHS. I stood up as a doctor and a mother and applauded that. However, there was a massive fly in the ointment, and that was that private clinics could still prescribe puberty blockers for children, and one rather large clinic being run by a UK GP operating in Spain was sending out prescriptions to children as young as 13 by the post. There were plenty of other private clinics who were prepared to jump on this exponential rise in young children being convinced that they could have been born in the wrong body. The government actually acted last week just before Parliament was dissolved and launched emergency legislation which comes into practice on Monday, which prohibits private GPs and clinics, wherever they're based, even in the EU, from prescribing for children, and this will be in place for at least 3 months. So I think we should all stand up and applaud that safeguarding is back in the room for our children, even if it is only for 3 months and the next government may overturn it.
Benjamin?
I mean, I think safeguarding is the wrong word to use because it's not bringing in more checks for the individual children concerned, which would be the right thing to do. And there has been a problem that some kids were being diagnosed with these things when actually it wasn't the correct diagnosis. It's not a safeguard in this scenario.
Totally
it's a stop issue, because it's banning them from being able to access these things, which isn't the same as a safeguard. That's a ban.
Totally.
And so the fact is that you have young people who know they're in the wrong body, who are in
children.
No,
Benjamin, nobody's in the wrong body.
Incredible distress.
Nobody's in the wrong body.
So you're telling me that, I remember someone called April Ashley. She's now died. She was one of the first people in this country to have gender reassignment surgery in the 50s. She was a Vogue model as a woman. She made history because she married an aristocrat, and she was the basis of what would become our same-sex marriage laws. She lived as a woman from the 50s until she died about 2 or 3 years ago.
Still doesn't mean
Are you telling me that she wasn't in the wrong body? She wasn't confused when she was born?
She felt like she was. She had severe...
She died at 80 odd. You're saying she spent 60 years pretending?
She had severe... No, of course she wasn't pretending. She had severe mental distress. She felt that she was in the wrong body. But nobody is really in the wrong body.
But how do you know that? Because you're not transgender. That's like I'm a gay person. That's like telling me that I don't really feel a sexual attraction to another man.
Well, no,
it's not what you
entirely different. It's entirely different. Of course it is. But that is your sexual attraction, Benjamin. It is not you saying these sexual organs that I have should not be on my body. It's a mistake. Let's cut them off.
And so why do you think so many people from so many backgrounds in so many countries for so long have realised that this is a problem they have? Do you think
some would argue it's social contagion? But let me...
It's not. That's a nasty way to talk about human beings.
Can I just make a point?
Human beings are not contagious.
Can I just make this point? It's quite interesting. I was watching an American show about a trans... Well, basically, he was born a man, and then he felt he was trapped in the wrong body, and he was a female. But the reason he thought that was because when he was in his mother's belly, there were twins, and the other twin was a girl, and that girl died. So the doctor said in very rare cases, he can feel that he is a girl because the other fetus passed away.
Benjamin, by definition, gender dysphoria is a mental illness. It's not a sexual attraction.
Language that was used to describe homosexuality.
But it is a mental illness.
The World Health
gender dysphoria is a mental illness. Do you not agree that gender dysphoria is a mental illness, surely?
Well, I mean, it's a medically... linguistics of how you describe the experience that those people have. But to deny that they have the experience is nonsense.
But I think the problem is, Benjamin, that once you're over 18, whatever you want to do with your outward appearance and how you live is entirely up to you. Yeah. But children cannot realise what might happen to them later in life when they're sterilised by drugs that they take. We as adults must safeguard them from making that decision.
OK, James, 10 seconds. Sorry, you're cut short.
When young people think that they have, or when young people suffer from things like bulimia and anorexia, we don't say, yeah, you fat pig, that's it, go starve yourself. We don't do that. And that's, I'm afraid, been basically the equivalent. OK. That's the problem.
Right, that's the end of the first...